one question I have, is there a way to spot distribution? Okay, what is distribution? I don't really like to think in terms of accumulation and distribution these days because it implies that there are entities whose actions kind of control or shape the direction of the market. And while this might be true, especially in some very illiquid kind of low cap shitcoins or stocks, generally there are just too many participants in any given market to talk in terms of accumulation and distribution. Okay, distribution is just selling, right? So what are the signs of selling? Again, it comes down to liquidity. Where are their buyers, and are they getting taken out or consumed? And that's important because even if someone is selling a shitload of whatever it is you're trading, if there are still buyers at those prices, the market isn't moving. So if you're asking how to spot market tops, there are a few things to look for. And the first is for price to be relatively high. And this might seem kind of obvious, but I always see people fading breakouts down at the lows. So wait until price is relatively high, because at that point buyers are more likely weak, and it's more likely you're up at levels where sellers are going to be interested. Okay, so you're looking for that imbalance. And I'll talk a bit more about what I mean when I say relatively high on the webinar on scale, but for now I think that will do. You're all kind of well aware of when price has been moving up for a while relative to historical price action and is starting to kind of hit significant levels or pockets of sell side liquidity. The second thing to look for is overextension. Buys exhausting. And as I've explained, one sign of this is a parabolic leg which gets filled in very quickly. So this is a distribution kind of schematic from the Wyckoff school of thought, and this parabolic leg I'm referring to it's referred to here as the buying climax, or BC. Okay, this move here, and the response, price filling in that inevitably illiquid leg, is referred to as the automatic reaction, or AR. Okay, you'll often get a kind of parabolic leg, and then price very quickly fills in that illiquid move. That's your automatic reaction. And if you talk to someone who's into Wyckoff, they'll tell you that the AR indicates the presence of supply, but that could also just be a lack of buyers. Okay, an absence of buy side liquidity. And of course, this is just a schematic. The structure, what you might call distribution, comes in all different shapes and sizes, but generally you'll get multiple tests of the highs, referred to here as ST, secondary tests. Okay, price has hit some significant sell side liquidity, and it's kind of contained between that level and this flag limit in here. So you'll often get multiple tests of the highs and failure to push higher. But what you're really looking for is this, the boundary of that range to start getting consumed, for price to push all the way to the edge of this level. Okay, that's your flag limit, and even to engulf it. And after having consumed the liquidity in there or engulfed that flag limit, to fail to move higher. In this example, price does push above the highs here, and they'd call that an upper test after distribution, or UTAD, but that doesn't always happen. And when it does, it essentially happens because all this ranging, these secondary tests here, it's not only consuming the buyers at this level, it's also eating up the sell side liquidity, which is kind of containing price there. And so what will often happen is price will push up above the highs. But as long as there's still a large chunk of whatever level you're referencing on the left, or even a fresh level just above, okay, price will respond. And now, where's the next buy side liquidity? Well, there's nothing down here because it's already been consumed. So that's when price will break down. And that's all distribution is. Buyers getting weak, and the presence of sellers, that imbalance. And I see it as my job to kind of assess that balance, because there's just no way of knowing what's going to happen. Instead of failing at the highs at that UTAD, price may have just carried on up, and then Wyckoff fans would label that reaccumulation. But it's all just liquidity, making an assessment about which side you think is weak, and then taking trades at opportune moments which offer you favorable risk to reward.